mediation, and we are analyzing social media reports and unverified reports and footages from social media, and we provide you analysis from documentary and educational point of view. We are analyzing social media footages and reports on Iran war situation, and we provide you analysis on these unverified reports from educational and documentary point of view, strongly following the YouTube community guidelines. As we all know and we are familiar that ceasefire has taken place between Iran and US, and last minute deal that was brokered by and that was mediated by Pakistan. Ceasefire is of two weeks ceasefire, and we are now updating you on the terms and condition of this ceasefire. Basically, what happened is that there has been a major diplomatic breakthrough though the situation remains extremely fragile on the ground. In an 11th hour, a deal brokered largely through Pakistan, the United States, and Israel and Iran have agreed to a 2-week ceasefire. The deadline which President Trump gave and threatened to destroy Iran's power grid and bridges was set to expire on 7th, and then official peace negotiations are scheduled to begin this Friday in Islamabad. Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to lead the US delegation, while Iran will likely be represented by Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf. Following the announcement, oil prices plunged from their $110 peak back down towards $90 to $95 per barrel. We have first comment, and this comment says, "Thanks for update, brother." And we are updating you on the terms and conditions of the agreement and the overall condition. The most controversial part of the truce involves the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is the most controversial part of this war, ceasefire. Iran has agreed to allow safe transit, but they have started a new practice of charging transit fees for ships passing through. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi stated that the strait remains under military management, Iranian military management. It is still unclear if Western shipping companies will feel safe enough to resume normal traffic immediately. Despite the truce between the US and Iran, the war has not stopped entirely. Despite the truce between US and Iran, the war has not stopped entirely. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has explicitly stated that the ceasefire does not include Lebanon. Here is the actual problem. The statement that was given by Trump and shared on social media included that Lebanon is also in the ceasefire. And that statement shared by the Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif also stated that Lebanon is included in the ceasefire. But now J.D. Vance, the Vice President of US, and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are saying that Lebanon is not included in the deal because of Hezbollah. So they initially, US agreed that ceasefire is also Lebanon is included in ceasefire as well. But now they are saying that Lebanon is excluded from this ceasefire. And as Israeli Prime Minister said that Lebanon is excluded from ceasefire, Israel struck, Israel bombed Lebanon heavily. Israel attacked 100 plus locations in Lebanon within 10 minutes today. So Lebanon was bombed by Israel today. Lebanon was bombed by Israel today. Despite that, ceasefire agreement which was reached, and initially it was said that by Shahbaz Sharif and President Trump that Lebanon is included in ceasefire, but then they basically said that it is not included because of Hezbollah. So on Wednesday, Israeli forces conducted the largest wave of airstrikes on Lebanon, hitting over 100 targets in 10 minutes. Even after the ceasefire was announced, attacks continued on Kuwait, and Kuwait reported that 3 of its power and water plants were badly damaged by an Iranian drone swarm, and the UAE intercepted a missile barrage. Now, these are the visuals that Israeli forces launches biggest wave of strikes, even though ceasefire was announced for 2 weeks, and initial statements from President Trump and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan announced that Lebanon was indeed included in the ceasefire, but Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and J.D. Vance now says that the Vice President of America that Lebanon is not included in the ceasefire because of Hezbollah, and Iran initially opened the Strait of Hormuz, but under military watch because of the ceasefire. But now Iran is threatening to again close the Strait of Hormuz if attacks continue on Lebanon and Hezbollah. So Iran is basically threatening here. So Iran is basically, this is not AI, brother. This is an official channel, TRT World. It's a news channel, and it's an account, a verified account, and a news organization, and an official channel, TRT World. And it is the visuals which we are showing you are from courtesy TRT World. and they are not AI generated. They are basically real images that Lebanon was heavily bombed today despite ceasefire announcement by Shawaz Sharif and President Trump, and the statement from both of them included Lebanon was included in ceasefire, but uh, still Lebanon was bombed, and now Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the president of US JD Vance is saying that Lebanon was not included because of Hezbollah, and Iran retaliated by saying that if Lebanon will be bombed continuously, then we will close the Strait of Hormuz again. And they have indeed, they are basically allowing some of the ships to pass through, charging heavy fees, $1 per barrel, and that means $2 million per ship, and to be paid in cryptocurrency or Chinese yuan and not in dollars, basically. So, under the watch of Iranian IRGC, those ships will be moving, and if they don't take prior permission, they would be attacked. And Iran is saying that if the bombing continues in Lebanon, the full closure again of Strait of Hormuz will be in effect if the bombing on Lebanon continues even after ceasefire is announced. So the situation is getting tricky again. The situation is no, not Americans. The Israeli forces attacked Lebanon. I'm reading now some of your comments. Israel is going to be real trouble in few years when US got a new president. Why did Iran not include Gaza and West Bank? The answer to this is that Iran included Lebanon, and still Lebanon is bombed. Even if they have included Gaza, Gaza would have been bombed, because what JD Vance and Israeli Prime Minister are saying that it is because the war was with Iran, so only Iran is included in ceasefire and not all other countries, and also not Hezbollah. We have a poll here, and let's see, we have 57 votes now. It's a ceasefire, and not kind of a complete ceasefire, but still a ceasefire. And who won? Out of 58 votes, 67% of the people think that Iran won this war, and 33% of the people think that US won. Next, we are telling you some more news, and this is Sky News basically reporting that Lebanon was bombed today by Israeli forces, courtesy Sky News. So the problem here is now that Iran has clearly threatened that if Lebanon is bombed continuously, then we will close again the Strait of Hormuz, and the situation will then get very tense again. U.S. Secretary Pete Hegseth called it a victory for U.S., arguing that Iran's military infrastructure has been so badly hit that they were forced to the table. This was the statement from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Also, Iranian view is that pro-government demonstrators in Tehran are celebrating a strategic achievement, claiming they forced the US to accept their 10-point plan and stop the civilization-ending strikes, as Donald Trump already threatened that they would attack all of the power plants in Iran. and those attacks have stopped, and because those attacks have stopped, this is the Straits 11 refinery blaze continues despite the ceasefire agreement. On Iran's 11 islands were seen black fumes of smoke. Oil refinery and that was attacked. Uh, Despite ceasefire, this refinery was attacked on 11 island of Iran, courtesy Al Jazeera News. And we are sharing you the updates of this war, and we are telling you that still it's not kind of a complete ceasefire. It's not kind of a complete ceasefire. Still we see some of the attacks taking place, and yes, it's good that ceasefire is in place, but still it's not a ceasefire. Kuwait and UAE have already said that they intercepted, even after the ceasefire, some of the drones from Iran. And whereas Lebanon is also being bombed by Israel, Lebanon was included in the ceasefire as per the statement of Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Donald Trump, the president of USA. But still, Lebanon is being bombed. And today and yesterday, 100 plus targets in Lebanon were bombed by by Israeli forces. And now we have seen this footage that in which Lebanon refinery is under attack in Iran. So Iran calls it basically an enemy attack, probably from Israel. So it's not kind of a complete ceasefire, but yes, a partial ceasefire with the attacks still going on, but to a decreased intensity. But excluding Lebanon, that was heavily bombed by Israeli forces. Uh, so these events could basically result in the ceasefire talks being disrupted, and we could see uh, the war beginning again. May this not happen, but we could see that war again happening. Let's begin reading your comments. Hezbollah has been firing missiles, drones into Israel for many weeks now, every day, all night. Millions of people are running for bomb shelter constantly. Israel must act and stop Hezbollah. Madida Somi, and the reply to this comment is that uh, in the statement of President Donald Trump and the Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, who actually mediated talks between and Iran and US, the statement said that Lebanon is also included in the ceasefire. So the ceasefire must have been respected because it's basically an agreement, and it's the communication, and it's basically the words of the US president that Lebanon was included in the ceasefire, and also of the Pakistani Prime Minister that Lebanon was included of the ceasefire. But still, even if that is continued to be bombed even after ceasefire, that means this is the violation of the agreement. Yes, I totally agree with you, user I am 2U373 Voyager, that there is no winner in the war. I agree with it. Al Jazeera in Qatar backed media and work with Hamas and Hezbollah. US wins. These are some of the more comments. And strikes were reported in Beirut. These are strikes from Beirut. The Telegraph is reporting it, despite the ceasefire. The situation might now be disrupted again because Iran has also threatened that they would be attacking. They would be if Iran has said that if the bombing doesn't stop on Lebanon, they would be basically closing the Strait of Hormuz again. So these talks could end up with without ceasefire and beginning of the war. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Please do subscribe the channel and like the video as well, and share your thoughts with us. We're reading your comments as well and providing you analysis from educational and documentary point of view, strongly following the YouTube community guidelines. The oil prices have came down to $90 per barrel. While Iran's economy is in ruins, experts warn that their nuclear material remains buried and is intact. So nuclear material, which was basically the nuclear material which was basically hidden under the tunnels, in the tunnels under the ground, several kilometers deep, was safe, and it is with Iran. So President Trump mentioned today that the U.S. intends to dig up and remove enriched uranium as a as part of the final peace deal with Iran. Also, the situation, we are reporting you that the situation has taken a dramatic turn over the last few hours. Despite the ceasefire announced on Tuesday, Iran has officially closed the Strait of Hormuz again as of early Wednesday and Thursday. So this is a big breaking news which we are sharing with you now, that Iran has officially closed the Strait of Hormuz again, because Iran said that Lebanon was being attacked, and initially the statement from President Trump and the statement from Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif mentioned that Lebanon is in the deal and ceasefire is also in effect in Lebanon, and yet that clause was not followed, and ceasefire was not followed in Lebanon. So Iran has officially closed the Strait of Hormuz again. The Strait of Hormuz is now closed again, as the as Lebanon was bombed heavily today in 100 plus regions by Israel. So, retaliating to that, Iran has officially closed the Strait of Hormuz again. So, this is a big breaking news now. The situation is taking a dramatic turn. While the US and Iran agreed to 2 week truce, President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu clarified afterwards that Lebanon was not included in the deal. Let's see some comments. Read your comments. War with this is makes you lots expensive and evil shapes. I was also in war when I was living. My life in Israel is hard because stories around Israel and they want this. We are reporting you on the ceasefire that took place, and this is kind of a partial ceasefire, not a complete ceasefire, but yes, you can call it a ceasefire. Massive Israeli strikes on Wednesday. Israeli launched its largest air campaign since the war began, hitting over 100 targets in Lebanon. Within 10 minutes, at least 254 people were killed in these strikes. In strikes in Lebanon, 254 people were killed in Israeli strikes, which happened today. 254 people died in Israeli strikes, which happened today. So, Iran's response was IRGC leadership declared that aggression towards Lebanon is aggression towards Iran. in retaliation for the Beirut strikes, they have ordered the immediate closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So, the Strait of Hormuz, which opened for a little time, for some hours, is closed again now uh, by Iran and IRGC to pressurize Israel and US to stop the bombing of Lebanon. Iranian state media reports that the Navy and the Coast Guard have orders to target and destroy any vessel attempting to pass through without a specific authorization. This move puts the entire Islamabad Accord, the ceasefire deal, in serious danger before the Friday talks even begin. Before this second closure of Strait of Hormuz, Iran had begun a new practice of charging transit fees for ships. Iran had begun new Iran had begun a new practice of charging transit fees for ships. That system is now suspended as all traffic has effectively come to again. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has confirmed that US Vice President Jerry Vance and the Iranian delegation are still expected to arrive in Islamabad this Friday for the peace summit. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi called the Pakistani uh, uh, officials to discuss the ceasefire violations. Uh, Pakistan is the only country talking to both sides to prevent the ceasefire from collapsing entirely. So Abbas Araghchi basically phoned Pakistani officials on the violations of ceasefire, that why ceasefire is violated, and Pakistan is the only country which is mediating this and trying very hard to prevent the ceasefire from collapsing entirely. The White House is currently calling the reports of closure of Hormuz as false, while Iranian state media is broadcasting footages of the blockade. While the White House is saying that the news about the closure of the Strait of Hormuz is false, but the Iranian media is broadcasting footages of the blockade. The information war is very high right now. This information war is very high right now. With over 1,000 people injured in Lebanon strikes today, Hezbollah has not yet confirmed if it will abide by the truce. Thousand people have been injured in Lebanon. Thousand people have been injured in Lebanon by Israeli strikes. And Hezbollah hasn't confirmed that they will follow the truce ceasefire or not. Let's read some of your comments. Now, the war in Lebanon is very serious. Yes, it is very serious. 254 died and 1,000 were injured by attacks from Israel despite ceasefire. Trump's former press secretary said Trump calls his own supporters as dismantlers and they still support. Israel is saying out precision strikes, Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Israel also warning civilian attacks. Thanks God for President Trump and rise agents. So Hormuz is closed again. Yes, it is closed again. I think you are finished, but you are deluded. Israel is evil and only killing civilians and steals land. Distance is legal. Yes, the Strait of Hormuz is closed again. The war in Lebanon is very serious. Ali Imran says hi, hi to you as well, and 194 votes. Ceasefire who won. 61% of the people say Iran. 39% of the people say US. Do subscribe the channel and like the video as well. Lebanon's weak army is unable to eliminate Hezbollah, and Iran finances and directs Hezbollah's activities. Please do subscribe the channel and like the video as well, and share your thoughts with us. And we're reading your comments. Do take part in the poll as well. Let's discuss some more news, which are latest news regarding the ceasefire agreement. We are updating you regarding the ceasefire agreement which has happened yesterday, mediated by Pakistan. The ceasefire is in place, but we see some violations happening. The 10-point plan is given by Iran for ceasefire talks is basically a formal list of demands submitted by Iran to the United States via Pakistani mediators. This proposal is currently being used as the workable basis for the peace talks in Islamabad this Friday. While President Trump has called it significant enough to delay strikes, these 10 points given by Iran, the President Trump called it significant enough to delay strikes. Several of the points are considered non-starters for the US and Israel. The 10 points of Iranian proposal are: number one, we are now giving you the 10 points which due to which the ceasefire began, and these are basically the starter points, and these 10 points are, let's start from number one. Hormuz under Iranian command. The Strait of Hormuz will be reopened, but only under the coordination and management of the Iranian armed forces. This was point number one, that the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened, but only under the coordination and management of the Iranian armed forces. Now, point number two is that the establishment of a new Iranian monitored protocol for all vessels passing through the strait. The point number two is the establishment of a new Iranian monitored protocol for all vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Point number three is a permanent halt to all military actions against Iran and its allies. A permanent halt to all military actions against Iran and its allies, including Hezbollah, the Houthis, and the PMF in Iraq and Syria. Point number 4 is a full withdrawal of all US combat forces from bases and deployment points across the Middle East. A full withdrawal of all US combat forces from bases and deployment points across the Middle East. A full withdrawal of all US combat forces from bases and deployment points across the Middle East. This is point number 4. Point number 5 is full payment of financial compensation to Iran for damages caused by war. Full payment of financial compensation to Iran for damages caused during the war. Point number 6 is immediate removal of all direct US sanctions. Immediate removal of all direct US sanctions. Point number 7. Removal of sanctions on third parties doing business with Iran. Removal of sanctions on third parties doing business with Iran. Point number 8. The cancellation of all United Nations Security Council resolutions against Iran. The cancellation of all United Nations Security Council resolutions against Iran. Point 9. The end of all International Atomic Energy Agency investigations and resolutions regarding Iran's nuclear program. Last point, point number 10, the immediate unfreezing of all Iranian assets. Unfreezing of all Iranian assets and properties held abroad, estimated at over $100 billion. I repeat again, point number 10, the immediate unfreezing of all Iranian assets and properties held abroad, estimated at over $100 billion. These are 10 points which we shared with you, given by Iran for ceasefire. Rafael Trump doesn't like you. Not going to happen. Yes, I think so. With these points, ceasefire looks difficult. Note that point did not mention stopping uranium enrichment. In fact, some Iranian state media reports suggest that point through includes the acceptance of enrichment rights, and this is a major sticking point for Israel. The US has its own 15-point plan that demands the dismantling of nuclear facilities and the end of support for Hezbollah. Let's discuss the 15 points from US. 15 points, 10 points were this 10 points which we read out to you were basically from Iran, and to counter their 15 points have been given from US as well. Let's discuss those 15 points one by one again. the 15 points, basically the US proposal for ceasefire. Number one, full permanent reopening of the Strait of Hormuz for all international shipping. Number two, total cessation of all uranium enrichment on Iranian soil. Number three, all existing enriched nuclear material must be shipped out of the country, likely to Russia or a neutral third party. Number four, permanent decommissioning of the Fordo and Natanz enrichment sites. Number five, immediate and end to all financial military support for Hezbollah, Houthis, and the PMF in Iraq. Number six, a ban on the development and testing of nuclear capable missiles, ballistic missiles, and missiles for self defense only. Number seven, unrestricted access for international inspectors for all military and civilian sites. Number eight, immediate release of all US and allied dual nationals currently held in Iran. Number nine, the establishment of an international naval task force to patrol the Strait of Hormuz. Number 10, a permanent end to state sponsored cyber attacks, US and allied infrastructure. In exchange for number 11, in exchange for disarmament, the US will assist in finishing the Bushehr plan for only civilian power. Number 12, sanctions will be lifted in blocks only after Iran proves it has met specific disarmament milestones. Number 13, a portion of the $100 billion in frozen assets will be released for humanitarian purposes, food and medicine only. Number 14, Iran must sign a formal treaty promising not to attack Israel or Gulf neighbors. Number 15, the final deal must be codified into a new binding UN Security Council resolution that allows for immediate military action if Iran violates these terms. So these are the 15 points. These are the 15 points which we have read out to you from US. We have also read out 10 points which were given by Iran. Now moving to your comments that did they come to a deal last night from hey it's me red ceasefire. The ceasefire was reached yesterday was for 2 weeks, and Iran and US have exchanged proposals. We have read out the proposals of each, 10 points from Iran, 15 points from US, and they will be talking about these proposals in Pakistan, mediated by Pakistani officials regarding permanent ceasefire. But as of now, there is ceasefire, but we have seen some violations of ceasefire as well as of now. Initially, the US President and Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif said that Lebanon is indeed the part of ceasefire, but we have seen that Israel attacked today Beirut, in which 254 people died and thousands are injured. Iran retaliated and closed the Strait of Hormuz again because of those attacks on Lebanon. So this is the situation now, and you can call it a partial ceasefire basically. But yes, as of regarding between the US and Iran, it is a ceasefire for 2 weeks. They will never recover from this annihilation. The area asks for a ceasefire. Let's see how many votes we have got. We have 272 votes now. Who won after the ceasefire? Iran, 61% people think, and 39% of the people think US. We have read out to you the proposals from both of the countries. The proposal from Iran was 10 points and proposal from US was 15 points, and they will be talking on it on 10th on Friday in Pakistan, mediated by the Pakistani authorities. Mediated by the Pakistani authorities. These are 10 and 15 points from both sides. We'll see how the situation goes, because when Lebanon was bombed, Iranian IRGC closed basically the Hormuz again. We have maybe you should move over there. Now we have told you the situation, what's now new and what are the developments. What are the developments in this war, and what are the news and what are the developments regarding the ceasefire, and what is the situation now currently. We have updated you on these situations of the war. I would request you to subscribe the channel and like the video as well. And if you have some questions, do ask the questions. And if you don't have more questions, then we will be signing off from this live stream now, and will be returning with more news within 10 to 15 minutes. We will be returning within 10 to 15 minutes. If you don't have more questions, we will be returning with some more news. And before leaving, we'd request to subscribe and like the channel as well. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.